Coach Peggy Show, all things wellness with Coach Peggy Wilms. How many people in your life have told you you're half of this or half of that? Are you settling? No more. This show is about all things, and you deserve it. It's about your money, your lifestyle, your beliefs, and even romance. We extinguish excuses and raise the bar to all things possible. It's time to use your ATM, your all things mindset. Welcome to the Coach Peggy Show. Bold, badass, and never half in.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Coach Peggy Show. Isn't that a cool intro? Like, I even crack, it's just some dance in here. Hey, so this is all about real people. We're all going to have real problems, but we can find real solutions, real results by telling real stories. So we're the Real Reals. I have many guests today. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping first. If you guys ever want to see my archive of my show or be on my show, just hop on my website, the radio tab. I've got several books coming out. I'd appreciate it if you take a look at the authors tab. About 400 authors I've worked with over the last couple of years. They deserve your attention. And what I like to also say at the half-hour mark, do make sure you stay around because we have a lightning round and these guys have no idea what I'm going to pull out of my hat. Anyway, our intent today that you're going to learn something, feel something, do something. No complaining if you're not going to learn something, hear something, feel something, do something, okay? All right, today's topic, we're going to talk about seeing the world through children's eyes. I've got multi-best-selling authors here in the house. That's what we're going to talk about. I think many people want to write books. They want to write children's books. And my brilliant guests here today, they chose to use their creativity with the world. I have allergies, guys, I'm sorry. And these messages are going to change generations. That's what books do. Let's start the show just real quickly with a quote. When you read with your child, you show them that reading is important, but you also show them that it is important, the time is important to you for you to take 20 minutes out of the day to put your arms around them. And that's from Laura Bush. Welcome, you beautiful people.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey.
thank you for having us.
Look at the excitement in the room. Turn up the volume, people. Come on. Hey, do you guys have your coffee? We all talk about, Moxie, my producer, make sure you have your coffee. Good girl. All right.
I had mine 3 cups earlier this morning, so I'm coffeeed out.
Me too.
I'm right behind you guys. So I want to kind of make sure that we talk about these characters too, because as an author, and especially when you write like a fiction book or a children's book, even it's about real things, you've got this character, this belief that you're going to bring to life. And I know for me, when I worked with Teresa, we got our publisher in the house here, I had written these characters and they're down here on my floor. And then when I saw them on the page, this happened to you guys. Yeah, they come alive. I started crying when I saw my little son. Did you guys do that when you worked with the illustrator where you're like, because you kind of go back and forth, but Teresa's illustrator, Aljon, he's just amazing. But I want to just brag about you guys. We got Will Pollock in the house, Kenyetta, beautiful newlywed new mama Simmons.
Yes, Simmons.
You did a good job. And then we've got Kenyetta in the house and Emma, not Kenyetta, we've got Marla in the house. Emma, did you hear me say your name? And then we have Teresa, who is also an author and a publisher. You guys, I want to brag on you a little bit. You guys who are out walking, listening to this radio show or whatever you're doing, I want you to listen real quickly. I don't think we brag about ourselves enough, and I could easily ask these guys to tell me a little bit about themselves, and they'd say probably 4 words. So let's talk about Kenyetta first. She's a newlywed, dedicated mother of 2 beautiful boys, author, educator, very important, educator, hear that word. From Atlanta, Georgia, Kenyetta's passion for inspiring children to explore and embrace their imaginations actually led her to pursue her degree in child development, which eventually led her to a career as an educator in mainstream and special needs classrooms. First of all, hugest pat on the back to you, hugest. Yay. We're going to move over to Marla real quick, as the wife of Roy and a daughter and a mother to 3 beautiful children, and her precious TARS warrior is in the house. Emma, we're going to talk to you a little bit later about what TARS is. Stay-at-home mom. And she works to grow their nonprofit organization. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to scoot over to Will, who has a 4-legged little baby in the house. Hey. Will is an award-winning author, blogger, photographer, and a multimedia journalist based in Midtown Atlanta. Come on, Atlanta, let's go. He's a native in New York City, though. So Will is a permaculture and green living evangelist. Like, if I can't love that anymore. All right, new puppy Jackson. Yes. We have Teresa in the house, who is the publisher of all of our children's books, and she is an author, speaker, educator, transformation coach, editor, brilliant person. I don't know. I could go on and on about her, but she also has a really cool podcast, you guys, Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm super done talking because it's all about you guys right now. But if I don't brag about you, you won't, you know. I want to actually start in a different kind of backwards way. I want to ask Teresa what her process is on deciding whether she wants to work with a specific author or not. So do you look at the person, right? Because we have to kind of vibe, or do you look at the storyline or the character? And good morning. Good afternoon.
Hey. I'm so glad to see you, Peggy. Usually we're in touch a lot more often than we have been lately. We've had a lot of things going on. So to answer your question, I have to vibe with the person. I have to know that their story is going to make a difference in the lives of the people who are reading it, and is going to bring light and love and wisdom and all kinds of things. Every single one of the books that I've published, and these three extraordinary people that are here, I want to brag on them a little bit. Kenyetta was one of my first people that published her children's book, and now children's books with us. And so she has Goose Farm Adventure, which teaches kids to love vegetables and fruits. And then we have Squirrely and Goose and the Baseball Glove Adventure, which teaches kids about being responsible. And then she's got another one coming out. It's called
awesome.
Nosy Rosie. And here we have a little preview of Nosy Rosie and the Schoolhouse Adventure. And I'm going to let Kenyetta tell you how she came about her characters. It's great. And then I'm going to go over to Will, who has Gentle with Gertie. And this is about bringing a newborn into a home with an older dog. And then he has another one that we're working on right now is called Gertie Goes to the Moon. And I'll let him talk about that when his time comes. And then we have Miss Marla and Emma, who have a series of books, Emma Adventures and Emma Goes to the Circus and Emma Goes to Church. These bring light and love to people with TAR syndrome. And Marla's going to talk to you about that a bit. And she has a series. The next one coming up is Emma Goes to the Beach, and then Emma Goes Bowling. And we've got a whole bunch of things. And it's telling people, it's teaching people that even though you may look different, even though you may have a disability, so to speak, that you can still live a great life and participate with others. And then, of course, I have to recognize you, Miss Peggy, with with your children's book, which is the first one in your series. And this is The Boy with the Broken Nose. And these are great conversations between parent and child. And when things go a little bit awry in the child's life, and how to bring them back into conversation with you so that you can be of support and love them like every parent does. So I had to brag on everybody. And so they all bring a message. Every single one of the books brings a message to the reader, and really highlights the author and the author's heart and how they are so connected to the children who will be reading and learning from the books that they provide. So thank you to all of you for saying yes to this opportunity. I'm so excited to hear what you all have to say.
Yes. And I mean, the reason I asked that is my year this year is about working smarter, not harder. and about really setting strong boundaries. So when I get that, that's why I asked that, because I'm getting tired. I'm 58, not dead, but I am getting tired. So I'm sick of I want to have good vibes around me. So you got about 3 strikes, and you're out, because I think I came from decades of just feeling like I could find the best in everybody, and saw what they couldn't see in themselves. But now that I'm writing these children's books, just like you guys are, my co-author happens to be my son, who's now 30. And so we're going back to all of these are all his little stories, but it's a view, and I'm headed to you guys. It's a view of what I saw as his past experiences when he was 7, and then him looking back. And you guys, with stories, it's so important to do this because the perspectives are nowhere close, like at all. Like, I'm like, Tanner, why'd you crawl the tree? You climbed the tree and then you lied to me, and and you go through that whole thing. So let's go with you. Will, first of all, did you always want to be a writer? Were you a journaler? Did you just get your puppy and say, oh my gosh, I just got brilliant and that's what I'm going to do? So give us a history of you, Will.
Yeah. I started in journalism in 1995.
Okay.
And it was kind of like a button-up business journalism. And I bounced around. I did some freelance writing for different publications. I went and got my master's in journalism, and that kind of set me off to a path of I guess I would say kind of more mature storytelling. There was a moment, I think, if I had to name a moment, it was when I'm big into music. I'm a former and current singer, I guess. But Melissa Etheridge's "I Need to Wake Up" really kind of hit me down to my soul, like to the point where I wanted to do impact journalism. So not just business writing, which is fine, not just corporate writing, which I've done in the past, but to do impact journalism and storytelling. And that's kind of impacted everything I do. So I've raised, over $100,000 for various charities through my Pizza for Good book. And which itself, I mean, Pizza for Good was about having an impact. And then that kind of leads into my first children's book, Gentle with Gertie, which is also kind of a message driven. And the story is basically what I was witnessing with my son Cam and our beloved rat terrier Trisket, who, she was the queen of the house when he came. Thank you. Thanks, Teresa.
Right.
She was the queen of the house when he came, and I was not sure how she was going to react, but I just saw this beautiful and very bumpy transition where they just became best friends with a lot of coaching. And I knew in a moment that I needed to tell the story. I do want to say one other thing. When you find people who share your goals and your vision, like Teresa, latch onto them. Latch onto them and don't let go. And that's what I've done with Teresa. Teresa, you're stuck with me forever. Because Teresa helped me, and Aljon as well, helped me visualize this. And it's going to be a series of a trilogy in the end of basically from that, which was seeded from that moment of that Melissa Etheridge song. And it's just been kind of carried all the way through. So yeah, I'm really proud, and I'm really proud of the sequel, Gertie Goes to the Moon, because it's going to deal with grieving and loss. So
you jumped ahead because that's how brilliant you are. Many authors, you have that moment of like something that you could write or actually talk to somebody about, but you kind of suppress it and then it pops up. For you, I want to just praise you for listening to that song and having that inner voice and hearing that message and then taking action on it. And then you guys don't even know, none of us really know how many people follow us or read our stuff, or that you change their life or save their life. I mean, how many people when they're 35 years old go, you know what my favorite children's book was? And that's, it's amazing. Kenyetta, what did you think about when Will was talking? Was there any particular, maybe not a song, but any particular moment when you said, I got to share this message, which, by the way, girl, as a person who specializes in sports performance nutrition, I want your books in every damn school, because we have no idea how to read nutrition labels, what the chemicals are, how to pronounce them, whether they should be there. We should teach them how to budget their money and how the heck to eat. So when I read your books, it's your turn. I'm going to shut up. I got excited. Talk to me, Mama, with that little baby in your lap.
Yeah, but I feel like I can relate to Will a lot. Like, I have a Yorkie here, a little dog, and he has not yet to bond with the baby.
Really?
We need to read that story to Whiskey. He's still upset that the baby's here. I have an older son who's 9, who also struggled a little bit at first with having a new baby because they're so far off in age. So I think the Gertie book would go good in my household right now in this present moment. We all could use a little Gertie.
Awesome. We'll have his people call your people and get those books exchanged.
Your people call my people.
Yeah,
We'll do it. We'll do it. Absolutely.
I'm good at hooking people up. That's what I'll take care of that today. That's the one thing I can take care of. But what made you lean towards your books? I mean, I know, but the world doesn't know. Tell them.
Yeah, so Goose is something it's my son's nickname from birth. I've always called him Goose. And it's a series. The first book, my son is very inquisitive. He's always asking questions. He always wants to know why. So I chose fruits and vegetables because it's healthy. I try to incorporate that a lot with feeding him. And then from the classroom perspective, to try to get the kids to eat more healthy. But I based the first book off him, from him just being inquisitive. And I just incorporated everything together. And my sister children are like my children. So I started with my nephew, my first, now second nephew. She had another baby. But at the time, he was my only nephew. So he wanted a book also. And I based the characters off their personality. My nephew is all over the place. So I made him a squirrel.
Yeah.
I made him a squirrel. He's very impulsive. He does things his own way. And, sometimes he doesn't take accountability. It's like, well, this person did this. So I made that book leaning more towards his personality, learning to take accountability, to be responsible, to be honest, the first kind. And then my niece, her name is Zylela Rose, and I call her Rose. So I named it Nosy Rosie. She's nosy. She's in your business all the time. What you doing? Why you doing this? Well, why you got to do this? So that book is about her eavesdropping and going back and misgiving information without just, asking a question, and she gets everybody in the uproar when it's not that serious.
That's awesome.
So
they're gonna love you. I can't wait to go through the whole family. I mean, we got a dirty dozen coming immediately. Everybody keeps having babies. You're gonna be writing forever.
Well, I'm done. So we're gonna get. I'm in the baby area. After Nosy Rosie, I would like to do one more since I have a new son. Incorporate him in that, and then explore other topics with strictly dealing with my children.
See, and that's what usually happens, right? That kind of evolution. I think it's really important to cross our populations. That's one great thing about children's books, right? We can talk about nutrition or dogs or grief and guitars. We're going to talk about that. But I think many times as adults, we might get stuck in that genre of, the Twilights, or you get stuck over here in romance, and we don't cross genres as much as we did when we were read to as kiddos. Everything from Dr. Seuss poetry right down to squirrels and Nosy Rosie. I love it. Cool. All right. Welcome, Marla. You and your little pumpkin there. She's occupied now, probably. Emma's doing something. So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
about you? So your situation is a little bit different. You had your daughter, and I want you to explain how blessed you are with her, and then how it evolved into, because I would suspect that education is a really important, that's probably the main driver potentially on you writing children's books. So you take the floor.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much to everyone for having us on here, Teresa for the invitation, and meeting Will and Kenyetta. So thank you. First of all, I have two older children. My oldest boys are 25 and 24, and my youngest son, he actually got bullied in school, and neither one of them have a disability or anything. So I know it's going to come a time when Emma goes to school that she will get bullied. And I'm pretty sure all of us know that bullying back in our time, okay, baby, I'm coming. Back in our time was face to face. Okay, I'm coming. Hang on, baby. Face to face. Now, in this new century, it is social media bullying. And the numbers of suicide has increased tremendously. So I know I went through a lot of heartache with my youngest son when it was face-to-face bullying. So I know that it would be a lot more when it comes to social media. Real quick, I'm so sorry. She has to go to the bathroom. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
You do you, boo. Look how cool we're going to be. Exit stage left, because that's what this is all about. So you come back. You take care of her first.
I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
Don't even worry about it. We're going to circle back around. Okay. Will, I want to ask you, what was your favorite genre to read before you? I know you've been doing this whole journalistic thing forever and a day, so I'm assuming you're a reader, that you love to read. Some writers don't, but maybe you do. What was your favorite lane to stay in for reading?
Yeah, it's always been it's kind of boring, but it's always been nonfiction, news-based stuff. And lately I've been reading Rachel Maddow's Blowout and Prequel. She's an amazing storyteller. And hang on a second. Jackson.
This is the
He's
greatest
getting into
ever.
something.
I swear this is the greatest ever. And Kenyetta's next. Okay, it's going to be feeding time. And this is how we go. And we started the show saying what? Real people with real problems.
Yeah, there we go. And we're just showing that. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Roller coaster of life. Yeah, so you kind of stuck in that, and it's not everybody says they want to write a children's book, right? It's just not typically, they either want to tell, what my experience working with authors is most of the time they want to tell their story. And many times they wait until the character dies if it's a trauma, right? They don't want to come out until the dad or whatever situation might be more traumatic, but it's usually their story. And I believe personally telling stories through children's books is just a whole other level. Just because you're not going to have an opportunity to go like this with your little one and read them something about, an eating addiction potentially that somebody wrote of their own. What about you, Kenyetta? Do you get a chance to read New Mama at all? What is your interest in books?
Yeah, I do read. I like mostly autobiographies. I like to read autobiographies. I'm nosy. I want to know about you. Or
Nosy
just
Rosie's aunt is in the house.
But you know what? I like magazines. I know people don't really read them anymore, but I like reading a little column in magazines, and I read the little columns in the paper sometimes.
I think that's a good point.
The times that I do get it, but yeah, I like autobiographies.
It's kind of a dying breed for people to say that they get up in the morning and read the paper every day. I mean, we still are, but in a different, like Marla said, we're all on social media, so we don't necessarily look at it that way. Teresa, when you got into publishing here a while back, obviously you've always been a word nerd, self-professed even word nerd. And I believe in watching you. I've seen the evolution of you as a publisher, and I've told you 43.5 million times this last year. Your area of expertise is children's books. It is, I believe, you create such a relationship with your authors, unlike any other publisher, big box, small box, I've ever seen, in the sense of really their family, their absolute family. How do you feel the whole children's book evolution is from you? You have an idea, you meet with these beautiful authors, and then you get them. What's that like for you? A blessing, I know.
It lights me up. It lights
Yeah.
me up. You know, I mean, I love the anthologies too, and the true stories. And I have to give some kudos to you here, Miss Peggy, on these two that have come out in the recent past, and the third one that's coming out this year. You know, all things wellness, and the reason that I bring light to these first is because this was the jumping off point for me for the children's books as well. You know, you get to tell who you are in such a way that, and wellness, we're talking just full wellness, you know, finances, spirituality, body, mind, spirit, heart, you know, soul. And it's just, you get to show up in a way that you just don't normally tell your truth in a conversation with somebody unless you really come to know them. And so it's a stretching point for people, myself included, because I've written in all of them and more. I've written in a bunch of books. And so what I have discovered is that who we are and how we show up in telling our story comes through on the pages of the children's book as well, because you can't hide your heart. You can't hide your heart when you're talking to children. They know you. They get to you. They get you. They get who you are. They get how you be. And what you bring in a children's book is just, for me, the joy factor of watching the story come to life, you know, having grown relationships with these people who have brought the stories in. I mean, Kenyetta, how many years do I know you already? 5 years almost? Yeah. I think your boy was, no, actually it's probably 3 years. I think your firstborn
It's
was
4 years.
4 years. Okay. So anyway, the bottom line is I love that Will says I'm stuck with him for life, because this is how I thrive. Do I have every once in a while one that doesn't fit in the basket with the rest of the apples, is just rotten? Yes. But you know what? There is a way to easily and effectively and politely remove the bad apple from the bunch, because the rest of them are just thriving and beautiful. So
Okay, hold that thought. So Moxie's going to go ahead and take us to break. You guys, you're listening to the Coach Peggy Show with these amazing children's authors. Come right back for the lightning round. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Coach Peggy Show. I'm sure that you have done nothing better than listening to us today. And if not, then put it on pause and make sure you come back. We're headed into the lightning round, and that's just always fun. You don't think about it. We don't have conversation after. I'm not like, oh, that's a great. No, it's hot fire. That's all you do. Really quickity quick. So, Teresa, are you a texter or a talker?
I'm a talker.
No, you guys, would you have guessed that? Yes, you are. I'm a talker too. I'm a talker. Will, texter or talker?
Both.
Ooh, nice. Kind of a little bit of, yeah. You
Definitely.
text those people you don't want to talk to.
Yes. Texting has a very important function, but there are times when it's not apropos to the situation.
100, agree. Kenyetta, texter or talker?
Yeah, both. But I like the text. Personally, I just like the text.
Yeah, I get you. Both my sons are completely different. One is like, if I even say hi, the next thing you know, my FaceTime is hi, and I'm like, so you have to set aside that time, right? If I say hi, that equals FaceTime. What about you, Marla? Texter or talker?
I would say more of a talker. I like to hear the voice and, you know, get that emotion with them when I'm in conversation with them versus texting, because you can never know what texting that, you know, are you in a good mood, bad mood? Are you, when it's all capitalized, are you shouting because you're angry at me, or are you just in happy speak with me. So I think
True
more of,
story.
yes.
True story. All right, let's go back to childhood. Quick answers. What was a nickname that you had either from a teacher, mentor, parents? Kenyetta, did you have a nickname?
They used to call me by my middle name. My middle name is Quinette. So if I was in trouble, it was Quinette.
Ooh, that's good. It's not, it wasn't the full name. It was just boom, straight to that middle name, huh? That's funny. Will, what about you?
Up until let's see, up until I graduated college, I went by Willie. And I made the decision when I was applying to jobs that and there are plenty of people like Willie Geist. There are lots of Willies out there that are doing fine in the world, but I personally just could not go on a job interview and say, hello, my name is Willie Pollock. I just couldn't do it. So
Right.
Willie was my
makes
nickname and go-to name.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Teresa, what about you?
Later on, when at home, I was always Teresa. And when I got a job, my first retail job that I got, for whatever reason, the guy called me Terry, and it stuck. It stuck for the longest time. And then when I decided to take back my name, when I started writing and publishing, I went back to my given name, Teresa. Though there are still people in my world who call me Terry, and it's like, okay,
It catches you off guard. That's great.
past from the past.
You are so
Marla, what
much
about
more of
you?
a Teresa. You are so
I
much
know,
more of a
right?
Teresa. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Marla, any nicknames growing up?
Everyone kind of has their names, like the middle names or different names. Mine was not a name. Mine was called Motor Mouth because I just like to speak, and I spoke very fast because I wanted to get my message out there. And yes, it was Motor Mouth, unfortunately.
That's great. Mine was peg leg, so that's nice.
Peg leg?
Yeah, yeah, not good. Yeah. Marla, before break, we were chatting about Emma, Miss Emma there, and we were talking about your kiddos. You're a stay-at-home mom now and helping get, Emma guide herself through this world. And so tell me, when you decided you were going to write this book, was it before Emma that you were going to write, or did Emma inspire children's books for you? Okay. The
It was
stage
Emma.
is yours. Yeah.
It was Emma, actually, because of the fact, yes, Teresa, thank you. Because so my daughter was born with her disability, which is TAR syndrome. It is thrombocytopenia absent radius syndrome. She is missing the radius on both of her arms. Yes, ma'am. And because she is missing that bone, her hands actually twist in. So she's got low platelets. She hasn't had, thank the Lord, almost 3 years now that she's not to have had a transfusion. So, I could have been a mother who has a child with a disability and just accepted that. But with my youngest son, being that he was bullied when he was younger, I know it's going to happen, that she's going to get bullied. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we can all get bullied even to this day, even as adults. But what we can do is reduce the bullying. And so that is my mission, is by getting the children's book out, because how can I help reduce bullying? Well, I need to get into the homes, because it starts with the families. So I need to get in the homes. And how do I get into the homes for millions of people? I can't just go to their house. So by children's books, I can get into the homes with the children's books and get the message out there of what TARS is, so people can see it, so they can recognize it. So when they see her out and about, they know, oh, that's what TARS is. Or they can approach her and they can ask questions, versus when we're out and about, we have children who come up to Emma and they grab her little hands and they ask what is wrong with her. And I've had parents hit their children so they will not talk about it. They shush their children. And, yes, I think that's because it's rare and no one doesn't know what it is. So that's the first instinct, is to be quiet about it. But that's not me. I want to yell about it to the world and let them know what it is, and let them know that Emma can do anything that she puts her mind to, just like you and I. It may be different because it's to her ability, but she can do it. So that is started the children's book, and each book. So this one is actually Emma Goes to the Circus, and this is with my grandbaby Amelia Rose. So this is just showing the introduction of who Emma is and what TARS is. And then Emma Goes to Church is featuring Jalen Ross from Kentucky. He is the founder for TAR Syndrome Association, and it features about 30 people who have TARS. So each book, the third book coming out, yes, Teresa, thank you. Each book that is going to be coming out, book 3 is Emma Goes to the Beach. That will feature Riley from Atlanta, Georgia, and then book 4 will be Emma Goes Bowling, and that is with Daniela from New Jersey. And so it'll feature each person of TARS. However, we will have the family in TARS in the books representing them as well. Just letting people know, like, hey, we're all normal human beings.
Yes.
We all have a heart. We are all human. And, we want to be recognized as well, too.
It's amazing how things spiderweb, right? I didn't know any of you guys. I have a conversation with Teresa, and we all connect, right? We may be reason, season, or a lifetime. We may never speak again, or something may happen through someone. So Marla Logue, who has TARS.
Yes.
I didn't know she connected with you. I knew Teresa spoke highly of her. So Marta has already written the foreword for my upcoming book. And so the reason I'm saying this is that web of authors and the groups and like-minded people, and Will said he's not going to get rid of Teresa, and you have interviews like this, and I think it's really important for us to really come together as a community. We don't have to always agree, but we have to listen. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. I mean, let's listen to the diversity and the different opinions and turn the pages, right, just of life, and stop getting stuck on page 1. No one reads a book and reads page 1 over and over. We're all going to evolve, right? I mean, I do. If I go to bed and I'm too tired, page 1 does come back up again. but had you heard of TARS, Kenyetta, or Will until today? Had you heard about it? Or no, right? I mean, so that's why we do this. I know as an author, and I want to do this to myself first, is that I wrote the books and then I was like, okay, cool. Well, that's cool. Right? Because I didn't have the initial thought of I want to be a millionaire and sell 1 million books. And that was never my initial goal. I'm like, oh, look at me. I wrote some books. I'm going to help some people. And then I'm like, next. Now, 2 years later, I'm going, girlfriend, why don't you stop writing books for a hot minute and go back and talk to do the book clubs and do those types of things online or in person. So have you guys done a good job? Will, have you done a good job promoting your books, talking about them? Have you taken them through that next phase?
I feel like I have a lot of work to do in that in that regard. I mean, there are times when I spend a lot of time writing a blog post, for example, and then it just takes a lot of energy to write this news article. And the last thing I want to do is promote it, because promoting is a whole nother, set of obligations and things you have to do. So I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, I'm all ears. But
brother, that's why I'm bringing it up, right? I think that's the part that Peggy and all her personalities forgot. Is that when you go to a really big box, Schuster, and I'm not damning them, but hey, it is what it is. Teresa, for those of you listening, is a hybrid publisher. The reason I went with Teresa and I stay with Teresa is I get to own the content. I'm working with a lady who's about 78 years old out of Ireland who went back to a really big publisher, and she lost her rights. She wasn't paying attention. They own her content. She's trying to buy it back, and she's not going to win that battle. So I'm just saying, anybody out there who is going to write, just chit chat with somebody, reach out to anybody and ask them, because Teresa will help you write it, get it illustrated, and get it pushed up to the Amazons and pushed up to the Ingrams. And then she says, I'm here as your friend, so the rest of us kind of, what I forgot is like, well, where's that marketing team? Because I want to keep doing what I do. I don't want to market. I do enough of it, right? So I think, Will, you make a really good point of like, anybody have any ideas? Like, what's our next step for those of you out there? Many authors only sell about 500 books and then it stops. And then they like, well, that didn't work out the way it was, but we don't go into that marketing phase and the book club and the online. So anybody listening who would maybe like to do an online book club, like we could be doing to promote our cause, let's just think about that. So Kenyetta, have you taken yours? What about the school system? Are you able to bring anything into your school? You have to go through Ingram. What's that process with the schools?
Yeah, I've done readings. I just recently read at an elementary school. I like to sell my books on hand. But I am on Amazon and on Ingram. Miss Teresa got me on both.
Nice.
I have a website that I have my books
Mm-mm.
on.
Yeah, we need to push everybody's point of
Yeah,
contact.
it's called sillygoosellearners.com. And I could be doing more. And since I've had my baby, I took a long little break. But I'm ready to get back into it. And I plan on talking to Miss Teresa about other steps on moving forward with the book, maybe doing a cartoon or, a YouTube reading for children.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had somebody approach me that has a good audio voice, and he said, "Can I just read all the compilation stories like on my YouTube and do it?" And my light bulb went off, and I'm like, because we don't know what we don't know. We're all in our different areas of expertise, and I was like, I just never thought about that. So what about you, Marla? Because I know you really have taken your message and your website and your 501c3, I mean, above and beyond in the event. So can you give us like a highlight version of what you're doing in case we can all absorb a piece of that?
Yes, ma'am. So we just completed our second annual 5K on Saturday. And so last year we had about 35 runners with one vendor. This year we tripled our numbers and we had 10 vendors at our event. So thank you, Jesus. That was just so amazing to get people out there. It is very important to me that I not only engage the TAR families that we have. So we had Riley from Georgia, and then we had Arden from Galveston, Texas, come and join us at our event. But it is very important to me that we get out to the public, that we get out to people, because yes, families who have TARs know and are experiencing what we are going through. But you don't know, Will doesn't know, Kenyetta doesn't know, Teresa doesn't know. Nobody knows what we actually go through or what is TARS, what it looks like. So that is very important to me to get out there into the public. And so when we were there this past Saturday, I met so many contacts, so many connections. We actually have 3 luncheons that we are going to be getting with a doctor who is going to prepare us for our first annual golf tournament that's going to be coming up in August. So she's going to get us the connections to help us with that as well. We're going to be meeting with another organization who is getting into schools for their runs. And so I have been trying to get into with the different schools, elementary, so we can go and actually do like Kenyetta is doing, so we can speak to the children. That we could possibly have for April, it is National TARS Awareness Month, and we're looking to possibly engage with schools to where we could do like the walks with the schools, like the way the March of Dimes did.
Yeah, that's great.
Get out there with everybody. But yes, it is very important that we get to the public.
Mm-hmm. That's why I start the show with learning something, feeling something, and doing something. You know, the biggest example I can give this last year is working, Teresa's our publisher on this, as well as an unsheltered project where people who are homeless or have been homeless are writing true stories. Some are in hiding. So we've used pseudonyms, but that book will be coming out this summer as well. But one of the things that kind of align with what you just said, Marla, is the fact of we don't know what we don't know. Not every homeless person chooses to be there, is an addict. You know, many women and children are on the run because their home domestic stuff is really bad. Many children are leaving and going out on the streets. They're scared to death CPS will find them and bring them back home. So they stay in the down low, and then they're working for these other adults. And so I guess what I'm just saying is you bring up a good point. Well, you know, we may not have known about TARS, but if we don't know, right, we got to learn it, feel it. So if you guys are out there this week, look up what TARS is. Check it out. Check out some nutrition. Check out grief, whatever all of us are talking about. Okay, super. Kenyetta, what's this next year look like for you, love? What are your plans for finishing up 04? What are your thoughts?
My plan is to bring Nosy Rosie out to complete the book for my son, my new baby. His name is Choice. So this book is going to be about choices. Him, of course, but making smart choices.
Yeah.
Um, just being more present in my work, reaching out, doing more readings, getting a YouTube together. I really would like to do my YouTube or even explore my TikTok. I have 5,000+ followers and I don't utilize it like I should.
Look at Peggy.
So
Have your key
Peggy.
people call my people. You got a lot of conversations to have.
right, and
with
everybody's
me.
like, you can go live now. So I do want to start going live because when I started my TikTok, it was more fitness. I was working
Sure,
out. And
sure.
now I want to kind of switch
That's-
it to children, and I was just a little scared to do so because my following is fitness, and now I'm speaking about children books.
They ain't
So
following you for fitness. They're following you because you're the brand. They're
Mm-hmm.
following you. I could do
right.
squats all day long, and I'm not going to take your people, and we're both doing squats. So I
Yeah.
got you. So what about you, Will? How are you gonna? And I want to make sure you tell us any contact information. What's the rest of 04 look like for you? 024.
I am going to keep chasing this one around and my two-legged son, obviously. I am working with Teresa on getting refreshing my library. So I'm revising and writing a new preface for Leaving Trisket, which is my second book. We're working on some other things. I want to finish Gentle with Gertie, and I wanted to kind of loop back to what you were saying before is what I do on Twitter or on my blog or whatever is I make it my business to lift people up. So if you are, if I just my personal opinion is if you're not doing that, I don't see what the point is of social media. Like the
Yeah.
point should be to lift other people up because all, a rising tide and all that, right? So when we get off here, I'm going to find Marla's and Kenyetta's stuff and share it everywhere because that's what we do. We look out for each other. And so that's I'm going to keep doing that and I'm going to keep writing and my blog is crankyyank.com.
I was going to say that, yes.
Yeah, my
Cranky.
blog is crankyyank.com. The book blog is gentlewithgertie.com. And you can find me on socials too.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Marla, can you give us some contact information and then tell me what 024 looks like for you?
Yes, so you can reach us at tat21.org. I had or TarsAwarenessTexas.org. I had to shorten it down. My pastor was like, that's too long and I can't spell. Please shorten it. So I did tat21.org.
Yes.
And so what 24 looks like for us is I want to get out more in the public. I would like to get us out into the schools, into the libraries, into the doctor's offices. We've already, Teresa is amazing. Her and Aljon have just been a huge blessing. And like Will said, they are stuck with us for life.
Yes, ma'am.
And I love, Peggy, you mentioned earlier how, that your friend, unfortunately, she went with a different publishing company and she lost copyrights. I love how Teresa is so like, hey, Marla, like, this is what we've drawn. Let us know what you think. And I'm able to say, can you change this? Can you tweak this? Do this, do that? She's like, yeah, not a problem. I love it. So, yes, baby, hang on. Okay. I just love how she's so willing to allow us to be a part of the writing, of the illustrations, everything. You couldn't be a part of a better family. That's all I can say.
I don't think a lot of people understand the levels, the agent, the marketer, the advertiser, the, publisher, the editors, the formatters. Like you have 7 or 8 people, complex people going, it can take you a year to get through your manuscript because they're like, chapter 3 needs to be rewritten. And you're like, no, it doesn't. But they're like, so it's like this kind of thing. You bring up a good one. All right, let's go around the room. I want to start with Teresa. We're going to finish up the show here in a few minutes. Let's give everybody listening a call to action, Teresa. So what would you say you'd like everybody to do or take care of right now? What do you want to
The
say?
first thing that I'm going to say is go to Amazon and get these books. The books are just like, they're great messages, as we have been discussing. All of the books that Marla is writing, the money goes right back into her 501c3 foundation to help other people. There's a message in everything. I would say make sure you get the books. And if you have a story to write, go to AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com. There is a way for you to put your information in there that will come to me and start the conversation. You know, we are growing in leaps and bounds, and getting messages out there. Getting messages out there is the whole reason for this. So yeah.
That's right. Okay, that's good. What about you, Will? What would you say? Call to action to people listening. You're very motivationally.
Oh, well, thank you. I
You
kind of
are.
did a call to action before about,
You did.
you know, using your platform to lift people up. And I would just repeat that really. I mean, just
Absolutely.
do what you can, do reviews, leave
Yes.
compliments. Compliments are free and easy. Okay.
Please, that is so
Yeah.
good. Yes,
Yeah.
comments. Conversation matters. Kenyetta and then Marla. What about you, hon? Kenyetta, what's a call to action for anybody?
Well, the piggyback off Will said, definitely leave comments, be more present, and do not procrastinate. If you start it, finish it. Finish it.
Mhm.
Damn, I didn't need to be here. This is fantastic. Marla, go ahead. What's a call to action, sweetheart?
All I ask is for, people who don't know and who want to learn, just again, like Will said, get in tune, find out where, on the websites, as Kenyetta mentioned, we have a website, so you're able to go in there and learn a little bit about us and about what we're offering for people to know. And go to Amazon and get our books. Help us, continue to write books to get the message out there. That's all I can say. Is it's very important that the only way we can do this and continue this is if you guys help us, the public, get us by purchasing the books to help us return those for more future books.
Exactly. Really good point. All right, you guys. Well, I super appreciate you being here, and make sure it does take a lot of energy to do this. There's writer's block. There's such a big process in how to get through this, and when we have energy and when we don't, make sure everybody, you honor yourself out there. You are a storyteller. If you think you aren't, you're gravely mistaken. And if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. There are enough stories. We could all talk about a pencil very creatively. So reach out to Teresa Velardi at Authentic Endeavors. If you have any questions, you can always email me, Peggy at allthingswellness.com. My website is allthingswellness.com. So come back second and fourth Wednesday of every month if you're bored and have nothing else to do at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And I'd like to say goodbye to my guests and thank you for coming. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Thank you, Peggy. Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
You've been listening to The Coach Peggy Show, all things wellness with Coach Peggy Wilms. Tune in live on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where Coach Peggy talks all things wellness, not just nutrition and fitness, but about all things, about your money, your lifestyle, your beliefs, and even romance. The Coach Peggy Show, bold, badass, and never half in. For information or to connect with Coach Peggy, visit allthingswellness.com.